The bridal room door locked behind me 10 minutes before my wedding, and the most feared man in Chicago said, "You are mine now." It did not feel like a line from a movie. It felt like the small click of a deadbolt, the faint hum of the air vent, and the sudden understanding that the white roses on the vanity were not the strangest thing in the room. I was 26, standing in suite 814 of the Blackstone Hotel, wearing a gown that took 3 women 20 minutes to button, preparing to marry Warren Hale in a ballroom full of people who believed stability was the same thing as love. My name was Eliana Brooks. By sunset, everyone expected me to become Eliana Hale. I had practiced signing it twice that morning on hotel stationery. Both times, the name looked expensive and wrong. I was alone when the door opened. My maid of honor, Nina, had gone downstairs to check the flowers, and Warren's mother had finally left after fixing my veil for the 4th time and telling me nerves were normal for a woman about to be properly protected. I had smiled because brides are expected to smile, even when certain words feel less like comfort and more like fingers closing at the back of your neck. Then Adrian Vale walked in. Everyone in Chicago knew his name, even people who pretended they did not. Adrian owned riverfront restaurants, dockside security firms, private clubs behind unmarked doors, and the kind of silence louder men could never buy. He was 38, white, tall, dressed in a black suit under a dark overcoat dusted with lake-effect snow. His hair was black, pushed back from a sharp, pale face, and his eyes were steady enough to make panic feel wasteful. He did not look at my veil. He did not look at my dress the way men had looked all morning, as if the gown had turned me from a person into an event. He looked at my face. Then he locked the door. I stepped back so quickly the hem caught under my heel. On the vanity beside me lay a small pair of silver sewing scissors Nina had used to trim a loose thread near my sleeve. I picked them up before I thought, not because I believed I could stop him with them, but because holding something sharp reminded me I still had edges. Adrian saw the scissors and stopped immediately, 10 feet away, maybe more. He raised one hand, palm open, then slowly placed a brass key on the vanity between perfume bottles and pearl earrings. "Unlock the door," I said. My voice was thin, but it came out now. He lowered his voice. "Not yet. You have 3 seconds to explain before I scream." His eyes moved once to the ceiling vent above the mirror, then to the smoke detector near the door, then back to me. "Do not scream," he said. The room is wired. Wedding music drifted faintly through the wall, soft and perfect and completely unaware. Adrian did not come closer. He only looked at me as if the next few minutes had already divided my life into before and after. "That line was not for you," he said. "It was for whoever is listening." For a second I forgot the scissors in my hand. I looked at the smoke detector, then at the ceiling vent. They looked ordinary, and that was what frightened me most. Ordinary things had been trusted around me all morning. The dress, the flowers, the bridal suite, the women smiling while they buttoned me in. Adrian stood with the brass key lying between us, his hands visible, his body still. Dangerous men were supposed to take up space. He seemed to be making himself smaller on purpose. "Who is listening?" I asked. "A security room," he said. One of Hale's private men, be more. "Warren security, not hotel security." I let out a breath that almost became a laugh. "That is supposed to comfort me?" "No, it is supposed to keep you alive long enough to choose what happens next." His calm bothered me because part of me wanted to borrow it. I lifted the scissors higher, not toward him exactly, but toward the space between us. "You lock me in my bridal room, tell me I'm being watched, and expect me to believe you came here to give me choices." His jaw tightened, but he did not move. "No," he said, "I expect you to demand proof." That stopped me. Warren never answered like that, Warren explained. Warren soothed. Warren told me what was best after making sure the room agreed with him first. Adrian's answer had sharp edges, but it gave me something to stand on. "Then prove it," I said. He nodded once. "Look at the left side of your mirror, behind the frame. Do not turn your back to the door." I stared at him. "You are giving orders again. I am giving you information. Use it or do not." I stepped sideways, keeping him in view, and reached toward the antique gold mirror above the vanity. The frame was heavy, carved with little flowers that matched the wedding theme too perfectly. My fingertips found a tiny black dot tucked into the corner where shadow met gilding. Not dust, not a nail, a lens. My hand dropped. How long has that been there? Long enough for them to hear whether you panic. My mouth went dry. They wanted to watch me dress? Adrian's expression did not change, but his eyes darkened. They wanted to know whether you hesitated. That was worse. I looked at the door, the roses in my reflection trapped in a gown that suddenly felt less like silk and more like paperwork around my ribs. Why would Warren need to know that? I asked. Because the wedding cannot proceed if you start asking the right questions. What questions? He glanced toward the vent again and lowered his voice. Why your bridal room was assigned to this floor. Why your dress arrived sealed after alterations you did not approve. Why a document packet is waiting downstairs under your married name before you. Have spoken a vow, Eliana Hale. The name I had practiced that morning. Expensive and wrong. My fingers loosened around the scissors. What document packet? Adrian looked at the dress but not at my body. At the seams, at the structure. At the place under my ribs where the bodice felt thicker than it had at the fitting. The first copy is closer than downstairs, he said. Check the inside lining, right side below the waist. I stared at him. You think there is something in my dress? I know there is. Do not come near me. He stepped back immediately. I will not. Then footsteps slow outside the door, and Mrs. Hale's voice slipped through the wood. Eliana, darling, are you almost ready? Adrian held my eyes and lifted one finger to his lips. Not as an order, but as a warning. The room was listening, and for the first time that morning, so was I. Mrs. Hale waited outside with that soft, controlled voice. Eliana, darling, are you almost ready? I looked at Adrian. He had moved closer to the window, farther from me than before. Both hands visible, his eyes stayed on mine. He did not say it, but I understood. Do not let them know. I tightened my grip on the scissors and forced my voice toward the door. Almost. My veil caught on a button. A pause. Do you need help? Nina's coming back, I said. I'm fine. Another pause followed. The ceremony begins in 8 minutes. Warren is anxious to see his bride. His bride. The words slid under the door like smoke. I looked at the white satin at the side seam Adrian had named. Tell him I'll be ready, I said. This time my voice held. Mrs. Hale's heels stayed outside for 3 more seconds, then moved away slowly. Like someone stepping back to listen, Adrian waited until the sound faded. Good, I turned on him. Do not praise me like I'm part of your plan. You are not part of my plan, then what am I? His answer came without hesitation. The reason it stops, I wanted to distrust that. But Adrian's words did not ask me to disappear inside them. I moved toward the full-length mirror, keeping my body angled away from the hidden lens. If there is something in this dress, I need to find it without giving them a show. Turn slightly left, he said. The bouquet stand blocks the mirror from the camera. I hated that he was right. I stepped behind the white roses beside the vanity. The flowers hid my hands from the mirror. My reflection came back in pieces. A bride, a woman holding scissors, a stranger wearing a name already prepared for her. I found the seam below my waist. The fabric felt smooth at first, then thick, too thick. There was a flat shape under the lining, sealed where no alteration should have been. There is something here. Adrian's face changed only in the eyes. Cut the inner stitch. Do not damage the envelope. You're very calm for a man telling a bride to cut open her wedding dress. I'm not calm, he said. I'm careful. I slipped the scissors under one thread. The lining loosened just enough for my fingers to slide inside. I touched paper. I pulled out a cream envelope, warm from being hidden against my body. No stamp, no seal, only a name printed across the front in black ink. Eliana Hale. For a moment, everything in the room fell away except that name. Not the name I had chosen. Not yet. Adrian looked at the envelope, then at me. He did not say he had warned me. He did not move closer. That restraint kept me standing. I opened the envelope with fingers that did not feel like mine. Inside were 3 folded documents, each marked for signature after ceremony confirmation, financial authorization, medical decision proxy, limited power of attorney. I understood enough to be afraid. Why would they need this, I asked. Adrian's jaw tightened. Because after the vows, they were going to make your consent look routine. My consent, your signature. I looked at the tiny black lens hidden in the mirror and felt anger come up through the fear. I sewed my future into my dress, I said. Yes. Adrian answered. I folded the papers into my hand like proof. Then a firm knock struck the door. Warren's voice followed, warm enough for any hallway to trust. Eliana, open the door. We need to talk before you do something you cannot undo. The knock was not loud. Warren understood softness. He could make pressure sound like concern. Eliana, he said again, patient through the wood, open the door. Adrian stood near the window, eyes on the door. He did not reach for the papers. He did not tell me what to say. Adrian gave me silence and let it test whether I still had a voice. Ask him why, he said softly. Let the room hear his answer. I lifted my eyes to the hidden lens. Why were documents sewn into my dress? The hallway went quiet, not confused quiet, calculating quiet. Then Warren sighed, gentle enough to make me sound unreasonable. Those are routine protections. My mother was going to explain after the ceremony. After I became Eliana Hale, another pause. That was always your choice. I looked at the first page. Then why was it printed before I made it? Outside, Warren lowered his voice. You're overwhelmed. Adrian Vale has no right to be in there with you. You had a camera in here. I said before fear could stop me. Mrs. Hale whispered something sharp beneath her sweetness. Warren answered too fast for security. A bitter sound escaped me. Security from what? Loose threads? My own thoughts. His voice changed then, not enough for the groom to vanish, but enough for me to hear the edge underneath. From people who would use your confusion against you. Adrian's eyes met mine. There it was. Not only proof on paper, proof in language. I stepped closer to the door. Do you think I'm confused? I think you're fragile. The word cut cleanly. Fragile, not betrayed, not lied to, a thing to manage by removing its choices. I looked at the envelope, the dress, and the brass key on the vanity. What does the Brooks Restoration Fund have to do with our marriage? The air outside the door changed. Warren did not answer. His mother did. Eliana, dear, that fund has been mismanaged for years. You need a stable family to guide it. It helps families displaced from housing projects my father investigated, I said, remembering my father's files and the names written in his careful hand. It is not a wedding gift. Warren's patience thinned. Your father was an idealist. He left you a burden. Adrian moved one step toward the hidden microphone near the vent. His voice went cold enough to sell the lie. She is not coming out until I decide she is ready. My head snapped toward him. For half a second, I hated him again. Then I saw his eyes. He was buying time, taking the blame, becoming the monster they expected so I could keep reading. Outside, Warren struck the door with his palm. You do not own her, Vale. Adrian looked at me when he answered, not at the door. No, he said quietly. Meant only for me, but they planned to. I forced myself to read past the headings. My name appeared again and again, not as Eliana Brooks, but as Eliana Hale, a woman who did not exist yet and somehow had more legal value than I did. What happens if I sign these? I asked. Adrian listened toward the door first. They gain access to matters tied to the fund, settlement authority, bank decisions, medical decision authority if they can claim emotional distress or incapacity. Warren spoke before I could answer. No one is trying to hurt you. Those documents protect you from impulsive decisions under pressure. Suddenly, every dinner looked different. Every time he called me sensitive. Every time his mother called grief a weakness. Every time they praised me for being quiet. Adrian placed another envelope on the vanity beside the brass key. Your father sent this to me before he died. My hand shook as I reached for it. Across the front was my father's name, Daniel Brooks. Inside was a copy of a letter. My father named the Hales, 3 Southside developments, and families pushed out through shell companies and fake repairs. He wrote that the Brooks Restoration Fund was created to pay them back. Then the last line blurred in my eyes. If they come for Eliana with flowers or marriage, close the door before they close her life. He knew? Adrian looked down for a moment. He suspected. He did not have enough proof, but he knew they would need your name one day. Whatever he is showing you is incomplete. I turned toward the door. Then no answer came. Adrian said, there is a service exit behind the dressing screen. I can get you out before they bring more people. I looked at the locked door. Running would have been easier, but it would let them tell the story without me. No, I said, I'm not disappearing from my own wedding. Adrian's eyes lifted. If my name is on those pages, my voice reads them first. I unlocked the door. Warren stood outside in his tuxedo, face arranged into concern. Mrs. Hale stood beside him. Behind them were two men with hotel earpieces that did not match hotel uniforms. Nina appeared near the elevator, bouquet forgotten. Adrian moved half a step, then stopped when I lifted my hand. "Do not touch me," I said. "Eliana," Mrs. Hale said softly, "you are not yourself. I helped the envelope from my dress." "Then why did you already print my married name on legal documents?" "This is not the place." "It is exactly the place," I said. "Because you made a locked room part of the wedding." Adrian stood behind me, silent, letting their anger aim at him. "No wedding happens until every page with my name is read out loud, not downstairs after vows, not in private, not after someone tells me I am too fragile to understand my own life." Nina came to my side. "You are making a mistake," Warren said. I looked at the man I was supposed to marry. "No," I said. "I almost made one." Mrs. Hale recovered first. "These documents are protective measures. You have been under emotional strain." Nina's voice shook, but it did not break. She asked for the pages to be read. "Then why are those men wearing fake hotel earpieces?" I asked. Warren took a slow step forward. "Eliana, you do not understand the legal structure." "Then explain it." "Not in a hallway. You were willing to marry me in a ballroom." His eyes flashed. "Because the ballroom was supposed to be a place where you trusted me." "No," I said. "It was supposed to be a place where I could not ask questions without looking ungrateful." Mrs. Hale leaned closer. "You are making yourself look unstable." Adrian's voice came low from behind me. "Say that again for the camera." Mrs. Hale went still. Warren turned on him. "You locked the bridal room." "Because you had already wired it," Adrian said. "You had documents sewn into her dress. A married name printed before vows and private men outside her room. Do not accuse me of one locked door when your whole wedding was built like one. You have no idea what that fund requires." "It requires the families my father named to be protected," I said. "It requires someone competent." He snapped. "Not a grieving woman with a sentimental attachment to people who will drain it dry." There it was, the truth beneath the tuxedo. "You never wanted a wife," I said. "You wanted access." Mrs. Hale reached for his arm, but too late. The sentence had already found witnesses. We did not take the service elevator. I walked toward the ballroom with the documents, my father's letter, and the brass key. Nina walked beside me. Adrian followed half a step behind, not leading, not pulling, not performing a rescue. Warren and Mrs. Hale came after us. The ballroom doors were open. Guests sat beneath chandeliers. Warren hurried to my side, smiling as if he could still frame the story. "Everyone, please remain calm. Eliana has had a difficult moment upstairs." I looked at him. "Not translate me." "This is not appropriate," Warren said. "Neither was sewing legal papers into my dress." I walked to the microphone meant for vows. Adrian stopped at the edge of the platform, and that choice steadied me. "My name is Eliana Brooks," I said through the speakers. "Not Eliana Hale. Not unless I choose it with full knowledge of every page attached to that name." I unfolded the first document. "This is a financial authorization prepared after the ceremony. It gives access to matters tied to the Brooks Restoration Fund. The second is a medical decision proxy. The third is a limited power of attorney." All three were hidden inside my wedding dress. All three used the name Eliana Hale before I became her. Mrs. Hale rose from her table. "This poor girl is overwhelmed. Do not call me poor because I found the price tag." The ballroom went still. I lifted my father's letter. My father warned that if the Hale family came for me with flowers, promises, or marriage, someone should close the door before they closed my life. Warren's face changed. "You are destroying us over a misunderstanding," he said. "No," I answered. "You misunderstood me. You thought I would rather be chosen than informed." I removed my engagement ring and placed it beside the microphone. "This wedding stops now. My attorney will review every document. The fund stays protected. Nobody uses my name before I decide what it means." Nina came close and whispered, "I'm here." Mrs. Hale tried once more. "Eliana, darling, please think of your future." I looked at her and felt tired, not afraid. "That is exactly what I'm doing." Warren left with his mother and two attorneys. I stayed until the documents were sealed. Only then did my knees weaken. Adrian moved one step, then stopped. I nodded. He offered his arm. I used it for 3 then stood on my own. Outside the Blackstone, snow fell over Michigan Avenue. No veil now, no ring, no borrowed last name. My dress was torn, and my father's letter was safe inside my coat. Adrian opened the hotel door and stepped aside. Not ahead, not beside me, aside. You do not have to face them, he said. I looked at the cameras and thought of the locked room upstairs. Yes, I said, I do. Then I walked out first. At the curb I turned once. Why did you say it that way, I asked. Why say I was yours? His voice changed, lower and honest. Because they needed to believe I had taken control long enough for you to take it back. Snow touched my cheeks. He had whispered that I was his, but he became the first man in that hotel who did not try to own me.